Hi, let's talk about burnout. Everyone's experienced it, and it usually comes when we push ourselves too hard, whether by trying to keep up with your own standard of how you should be performing, or whether you're pushing yourself to meet somebody else's standard for you. Your yoga practice is a really great tool to figure out which of these you fall into. If you find yourself pushing really hard in your practice, then that's a clue that perhaps you are putting yourself in an impossible situation of perfectionism or people pleasing. So we're just going to do one pose today, and I want you to examine how you talk to yourself getting into the pose, while you're in the pose, and then getting out of the pose. Okay? So we're just going to do a simple cross-legged sit, Sukhasana, easy pose. So I'm sitting on a cushion that's elevating my pelvis so that it's not tilting back. So that's your first step, is find your just right. If you prop yourself up too high, then your pelvis will tilt forward. You'll have to crank your shoulders back. Your ribs will be jutting out. And you might feel like, well, this is how I'm supposed to be, and it's rigid. But that rigidity is going to cause you pain. So take down some height if you need to. Find your just right, where your top of your pelvis, those elephant ears, right, are right on top of the sitting bones. You can even feel beneath your bum those little bones, those sitting bones at the bottom of your pelvis. You want to feel like there's a balance, that they're evenly stacked, the elephant ears over the sitting bones. Let your belly be soft. Again, notice, are you sucking in your belly, even though you might be by yourself? Why? Why are you sucking in your belly? Can you soften and just be yourself around yourself? We're going to keep scanning upward. Feel your ribs. Do you feel like your middle back is just as long as your upper belly, right? So your ribs are not jutting out. There's length in the spine and ease in your breath. Your shoulders just relaxed down, not rounding forward, not pinched back. Again, find your Goldilocks just right. And then feeling a sense of rising, floating up through the crown of the head so that your throat is as long as your neck. Again, you're not jutting your chin out, you're not smushing your chin in. Find that Goldilocks just right. Ideally, your ears are in line with the middle of your shoulders. Now, if I were there in the room with you, I could do a soft hands-on adjust to help you with these little landmarks. But hopefully these cues are enough to give you an internal sense of awareness of how you are situated in space. Just with that alone, how do you feel? Can you practice loving kindness with yourself as you examine just the posture of sitting in Sukhasana? If you were holding your belly, if you were locking your shoulders, can you just let it go without the criticism for why you were doing that? Just let it be, okay? Okay, so now we're going to move into a very easy twist. So keeping this lift through the breastbone, find your twist with your spinal muscles. So my hands are not touching anything, but I'm still twisted, okay? So this is the extent that my body wants to go to. This is my twist. I'm going to place one hand down on my thigh, the other hand behind me, just to balance myself, keep my positioning in space. Keep your gaze and your nose in line with your breastbone. You don't need to twist your neck. Just stay here. Now, if you feel like you need to squeeze your hand on your thigh and crank more of a twist out of you, you might be pushing yourself into a standard that you don't need to go to. Go to where your body is. Go to where this twist is for you, okay? If you feel like you have to look over your shoulder, you're letting your eyes fool you into thinking you've twisted more than you have. You can be content with what you're able to do, and that's okay. Our necks take on so much twisting as it is that it can make them weak. So let's just keep the gaze and the nose in line with the breastbone. One more breath here, keeping the integrity of the spine as if we were still sitting facing forward. So your lower ribs are still engaged inward. They're not sticking out. You're not shortening your middle back or your low back. Let's take a breath in and then release as we come to center and just feel. You might feel there's a wash of energy moving from the side that you were twisting toward to the other side. You will. That's the blood squeezing out to the other side that you just pushed out. It's like wringing out a washcloth. Just breathe, take it in for what it is. Now let's do the other side. So again, hands up. Find your twist organically. Let your body tell you where your twist is. And then place your hands down. Your hands are just there to keep you grounded. Let your shoulders rest down. Keep your gaze and your nose in line with your breastbone. And just breathe. And then where can you soften? Do you feel like you have to grip or really tense up in order to do the pose right, quote unquote right? Well, I can tell you right now that the right placement of this pose is where your body naturally took you. That's your limit today, and that's where you go. Just keep breathing. Breathing naturally, breathing easily. You don't have to over breathe either. All right, let's release that twist. Come to sitting with your hands on your thighs. And again, you're feeling maybe there's that rush of blood going to the core. Now let's examine. You just came out of the pose. Did you talk to yourself in a critical way when you came out of it? Like, oh, that wasn't enough. Or, oh, I really should do that again. Or, oh, now I know what I need to do. Let me just do that again. Even though I said, stop. So where can you use this opportunity to be a place for building up your wisdom of this is how I experience the pose. So next time I have the chance to do it, I'm going to bring that wisdom into it. Stop when it's time to stop to prevent burnout. Now we could do this 5 more times and it would feel great. It'd feel tiring. It might feel good. That's your decision. What I want you to get from this simple practice is how you talk to yourself as you inhabit yourself, as you take on an opportunity. Can you be gentle with yourself? Can you be honest with what your limits are today? They will be different tomorrow. They might even be different later today, but right now, what are your limits? Where can you not be lazy? So if I were slouched in the pose and going, oh yeah, here's my twist, that would have been laziness in the pose. We don't want to be lazy. We want to always put out our best intention. So that's why I took us through the landmarks of feeling the pose anatomically in position where it's supposed to be, and then honoring that. That's intention. So where can you just maintain intention and follow it through? We don't want to overexert, and we also don't want to be lazy. Find your Goldilocks just right. And if you can find your Goldilocks just right while practicing kindness and gentleness for yourself, truthfulness with your actions, then you can absolutely prevent burnout. Just do your best. Do your best. And remember, if you had an elephant in front of you to eat, you'd have to eat it one bite at a time. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Take a breath in, release it out. Okay, so hopefully the ways that you were able to learn about yourself and how you talk to yourself through this very simple practice can inform how you take on other tasks as well. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more practices and tips to help you reignite your inner light, and share it with anyone who you feel could benefit from this practice and this lesson. Thank you so much, and please be well.